Hey, what the hell is going on? How are you? It's Nick Digilio. I hope your face is good, because if it's not, you might need a cast on it because it's all messed up and you look like, John Merrick. You don't want to look like John Merrick. You got a good face. Keep it that way. How are you? Nick Digilio here. That's me. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. Over 160 videos here that cover everything from theater to books to movies to music and just stories in general to make you laugh and to have a good time. And like, comment, all that shit. Spread the word, all that cool stuff. And check me out on Patreon. That's the most important thing. You need to donate. If you're watching my stuff on Patreon, if you're watching it on YouTube and you're not donating, you're doing the same thing that you would do if you watched PBS and didn't donate. It's kind of a dick move. It's not really, but you should donate because it's, make you feel good about yourself, and it would help me out. Patreon.com/NickD Show. Patreon.com/NickD Show. And if you become a patron, you make a monthly donation. The tote bag, that PBS would offer, the tote bag that I offer are extra videos that nobody else can get, and including a bunch of videos about what really happened at WGN, the true story of why I got canned, and what's really happening over at that radio station that now sucks. So if you want all the details on that, you got to donate, and also helps me out with my podcast, which is also free, and with the videos that I provide on YouTube and all the other stuff that I do. Not getting paid for it, so the least you can do is drop like $3 a month, and it helps. Patreon.com/NickD Show. Donate right now. Jordan Peele has got a new movie. Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. Along with Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, they had this show on Comedy Central called Key and Peele, and for my money, best sketch show in the history of television. Best sketch show of all time. It's better than Dave Chappelle. It's better. It's the best sketch show of all time. Amy Schumer, well, she sucks. And it's not. I don't consider SNL strictly a sketch show. It's a live sort of variety comedy show. But in terms of like filmed sketches and just strictly sketch shows, Key and Peele by far the best, most consistently brilliant, most consistently hilarious, and repeatable. Like, I could watch old Key and Peele sketches over and over and over and over again, and I know that we all have our favorites, and of course, classic stuff like Substitute Teacher. You could watch that Mr. Garvey. You could watch that shit, and I have seen it, and we've all seen, the Mr. Garvey, Balake, Aaron. We've all seen that a million times. The reason why we can watch it a million times is because Key and Peele are brilliant, and they're consistently great, and it's the best sketch show of all time. Jordan Peele loves horror movies. He loves genre movies. He's a dork. He's a geek. He's a self-proclaimed full-on nerd. He loves sci-fi. He loves comic books. He loves all of that shit that everybody who goes to conventions and everybody who lives that lifestyle, and the C2E2 and the Wizard World and the horror conventions that I go to and that I host. Flashback Weekend is coming up, August 5th through the 7th. Get your tickets, flashbackweekend.com. I'll be there all weekend hosting, introducing movies, doing Q&As, doing a live version of my podcast, the Nick D Podcast, which you should check out. So get your tickets now and be there in the audience. You'll be a part of a live podcast, the Nick D Podcast Live. Me, Esmeralda, you, there. Get your tickets now. August 6th, the afternoon of August 6th is when Esmeralda and I will be on stage doing the live Nick D Podcast, and you can be a part of it. Do it now. Flashbackweekend.com. So anyway, he's a dork, he's a geek, and he loves horror. It's his favorite thing, is horror. And you can kind of see that in a lot of the sketches that Key and Peele did. They're both nerds. They're both like total nerds. And you can see that in the kind of stuff they did. But a lot of their sketches kind of would go off into weird territory. Like suddenly it would veer into this kind of horror element to it. Some of their sketches were like, what the fuck is going on? And they'd get creepy and weird and go off into like a surreal territory. While Jordan Peele is part of that writing, and that's part of his sensibility. So his first movie was a movie called Get Out that he wrote and directed, which was a social satire / horror movie / a look at race in America, and also was disguised as a horror movie. It obviously, it didn't cost a lot of money to make. It made like $280 million at the box office. He won an Academy Award for his first screenplay. And that, right out of the gate, boom. Then his next movie was called Us, which was, again, a social, racial satire and another horror movie. It didn't do quite as well as Get Out at the box office. It did amazing business, and it wasn't received as well as Get Out. I like Us until about the final third. Then I think it all falls apart. The last act of Us is a total mess. But for a part of that movie, it's pretty scary. Lupita Nyong'o is amazingly great in it, and the idea is fantastic. The core idea is great, and for about an hour, it really kicks ass, and then it kind of falls apart at the end. Get Out, I think, is solid all the way through. I think it's a great satire. It's really funny, really imaginative, and very, very creepy. And it works. I think Get Out works. I don't think it's quite as great as everybody else on the planet thinks it is. A lot of people think it's the greatest, movie ever made. I think it's great. It's a solid movie, a terrific, very impressive, awesome first effort by a writer-director, and making a great statement both about, about society, about race, and about America in general. And you can see his influences of other writers and other directors in both of his movies. Well, his latest movie is called Nope. That's his latest movie. That's Jordan Peele's latest movie. And again, he goes off into social commentary and does it underneath the guise of sci-fi horror alien movie, alien invasion movie. And with Nope, again, he gets even more freedom. Look, when you make a movie that makes a studio or producers or investors triple their money, triple their investments, and even more, you're going to progressively get more freedom to do whatever you want to do as a writer-director. And in this movie, Nope, Jordan Peele was given free rein, and it's very obvious. Very obvious. So they let him do whatever the fuck he wanted. He had final cut. The guy won an Academy Award. It's his first time out. He made the studios and he made the producers a ton of money. And of course, that's the most important thing, is if you make your studio and your producers a lot of money, they'll be like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want. You got final cut, you can do whatever you want. Well, sometimes that's a mistake, and with Nope, it's a mistake. I thought, like I said, I think Get Out, terrific movie, solid, loved it all the way through. It still holds up. Us, not so much. First half is great, final part, not so much, and upon repeated viewings, Us doesn't hold up. This one, Nope, is actively bad. It's a bad movie. I will say this, though, for about 45 minutes to an hour, it works. But then, by the last hour and 15, this movie is like 2 hours and 15 minutes long. Again, Jordan Peele got to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. And sometimes that's not a good thing, because Jordan Peele, as brilliant as he can be, has a tendency to go off into worlds that he doesn't fully think through. And he's allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants to do on this movie, on Nope. And somebody should have reined him in. I'm sorry. But this is a deal where it's like, dude, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. You got so many ideas here, and you're only half-assing all of them. So instead of trying to do 9 million things that don't work, that actively suck in spots, why don't you try to do 1 or 2 things and make those work? And for a little while, he does that. He maintains some kind of focus, but then loses focus about 45 minutes or an hour into, and the movie completely fucking derails. The last hour 15 is a monster mess, like a complete disaster. Up until then, the buildup is pretty cool. Now, let me tell you what the plot is. I won't give way too much away because, it's been very mysterious. Jordan Peele is like, and by the way, Jordan Peele continues to be very successful in that genre, in that nerdy, geeky sci-fi horror genre. He did a reboot of Twilight Zone where he directed a couple of episodes. They weren't good. The show itself, not so great, very inconsistent. I think, as much as I love Jordan Peele as a sketch writer and a sketch comedian and an actor and a great mind, I think that he needs some discipline. I think he needs some reining in, and I think Key was the guy who did that. I think he needs a partner. I think he needs Keegan-Michael Key. Just to go, you know what? This idea sucks. Let's not do that one. Let's not spend a half an hour on something that's complete bullshit, and let's try to do this. I think he needs a Key. Peele without Key, not very good as a writer-director. Sorry. Anyway, so in this one, he's reunited with Daniel Kaluuya, who was the star of Get Out. He's reunited with that. He and Keke Palmer, who I was not very aware of. I guess she was a child star and, had some songs and stuff. I'm not very aware of her. They play brother and sister. At the beginning of the movie, there's this weird thing that happens. Keith David shows up. That's right, Childs from The Thing. And he plays their father. And at the beginning of the movie, some weird thing happens in the sky. Is it an extraterrestrial? Is it an alien? Is it a plane? And shit starts falling from the sky, like keys and all kinds of other stuff. And something falls out of the sky and kills David Keith. So at the beginning of the movie, he's the father. Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya play brother and sister. And since the father's death, they have now inherited this ranch, this horse ranch, where they breed and raise horses and provide horses. It's a horse ranch in the middle of California in the desert. And they now they have become the Haywood Horse Ranch, where they provide horses for Hollywood. So they're a Hollywood horse ranch, which means if you need a horse for a TV show, if you need a horse for a movie, if you need horses for a commercial or anything like that, you go to this place. And so they inherited this horse ranch, this Hollywood horse ranch. And business has not been very good since their father's death. With that weird thing that happened in the sky. What really happened? It's a big mystery. Nobody can really figure it out. There was an incident in the sky. Was it alien related? Is that why he died? Who knows? They say an airplane passed over and dropped a bunch of shit out of the plane, and that's what killed him. So the horse ranch is not doing very well. Daniel Kaluuya is in charge of it. His sister comes back. They've been estranged. She comes back, and they're trying to keep the horse ranch Hollywood thing going. At the beginning of the movie, there's a scene where Daniel Kaluuya, who's very uncomfortable with the Hollywood setting, is trying to keep a horse in check while they're filming a commercial. And the commercial involves an AD played by Eddie Jemison. Hi, Eddie. Hi, Eddie, if you're watching this. Eddie Jemison, Chicago guy, great actor, terrific, wonderful guy, great Chicago actor, great musician in so many bands, including Love Kit here in Chicago. I've known Eddie for many years. We used to drink together at Simon's and hang out in the 90s. And anyway, good to see Eddie. He was in the Oceans movies, the Oceans 11, Oceans 12, and all that stuff. Eddie's fantastic. Great to see him. Anyway, he's in it. Donna Mills shows up as Donna Mills. And they're shooting a commercial, and it doesn't go very well. And so he has to continue to sell the horses to keep the ranch going. He lives in the big house on the ranch, open plains where they keep the horses, and now they're down to only a couple of horses. And so the brother and sister, they start to move in together. The sister moves in. She's had some issues. They move in together. And he's been selling his horses to another person who has like a small amusement park and an outdoor sort of show that this guy does. And that's Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead. He plays this former child actor who was on this sitcom in the 90s, a wacky sitcom involving a chimpanzee, a monkey. And as a child, he was on this sitcom, and something horrible happens where the monkey goes nuts and kills a bunch of people on the set. And he was there to witness it. And now he runs this ranch, this dude ranch slash sort of small amusement park, where they do this outdoor wacky show where he talks about his childhood, and he's done a whole bunch of other sitcoms and other things. And so he's a former childhood sitcom star who now runs a ranch, and he's buying the horses from Daniel Kaluuya. And anyway, what happens is they're on the ranch and shit starts showing up in the sky. Is it an alien? Is it a UFO? Is it an invasion? They witness this weird thing. They think it's an alien and it's an invasion. And so they decide that the brother and sister decide that they're going to load up on cameras, surveillance equipment, and they are going to film the shit out of the sky and everything surrounding the ranch. And it spooks the horses, and the horses are freaking out and they're disappearing. And they are going to get the Oprah shot, as they call it. So they're going to have non-stop surveillance cameras recording constantly so that they get a shot of this alien invasion. So they get the UFO. So they get the aliens. They get it, and they get, $1 million for the footage. And it's all about, again, the importance of social media, the importance of getting what they call the Oprah shot, and all this other stuff. And so they go to Fry's Electronics, which, by the way, is a company that's completely out of business. And I'm not sure if they started shooting this movie before all the Fry's Electronics stores closed down, or if that's part of the social commentary. I don't know. Anyway, so they go there, they get a bunch of equipment, and they kind of make friends with a tech expert slash cashier there, played by Brandon Perea. And so he plays like a tax expert. So they go home, they wire up the house with security cameras all over the place, waiting for the next visit by the aliens, and they're going to get it on tape. They're going to get the video, and it's going to be on social media. It's going to be shared on the internet. It's going to be on TMZ. It's going to be the Oprah moment. They're going to get rich off of this because that's what we do now. And it's the commentary that Peele is trying to make. About news, about social media, about that Oprah moment, about people filming everything all the time, videoing everything all the time. And that's what they're trying to do. They don't really care about the alien. They're not interested in what it's about. They just want to get that moment and get paid. So that's what it's about. The alien invasion, blah, blah, blah. So I won't get into all the details. I don't want to ruin anything for you. So that's what happens. And Steven Yeun, who runs this little outdoor show, gets involved as well because the alien invasion shit happens while he's doing a show and blah, blah, blah. So, so Michael Wincott shows up, the great Michael Wincott, who you probably remember from Strange Days and The Crow and fucking Talk Radio. If you've never seen Talk Radio, his performance in Talk Radio is amazing. He's a great, very deep voice, fantastic, very creepy, original, great character actor. And he shows up in this movie. I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't watch Westworld. Apparently he's on Westworld. But I haven't seen him in a long time. And he plays a cinematographer who they hire to come out, be a professional cinematographer, to help them get that Oprah shot, which, of course, by the way, again, is a reference that doesn't work. And by the way, the character that Daniel Kaluuya plays, they call him OJ. His name is OJ. So that, again, seems like a forced, obvious joke. Way too cheap, way too obvious for Jordan Peele. Like, they keep calling him OJ, and there's references to, why are you OJ? And he's called OJ, and apparently that's supposed to get a laugh. Like, at one point it says, run, OJ, and that's supposed to be funny. It's not funny. It's cheap, and it's way, way, way beneath the intellectual level of Jordan Peele. So his name's OJ. That's funny. And so that it all builds up to, like, a big climax with aliens and blah, 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 and all this stuff. Now, it's not a good movie. It is by far, it's a bad movie. It's a very bad movie. But for a while, it works. When he concentrates on one thing, it works. The first 45 minutes, where they establish the characters, Keke Palmer has some wonderfully funny moments in the beginning of the movie. Kaluuya, by the way, not good in the movie. It's like he doesn't even want to be there. It's one of the laziest performances ever. He's doing nothing. It's one of the laziest performances that any Academy Award-winning actor has given in a long time. And then when they bring in Brandon Perea as the Fry's electric, the store tech supporter, who ends up coming out to the ranch and helping them and kind of living with them, trying to capture this stuff on video. His introduction is hilarious. His first scene at the electronics store is hysterical. The way he latches on to their relationship because he's just gotten dumped by this girl. His backstory is funny. All of his first scenes are fucking hilarious. They're great. The interaction with Steven Yeun's character is problematic. The whole sitcom thing, the flashbacks to the sitcom when Steven Yeun was a kid, and he was on this sitcom with a monkey that goes nuts and ends up like killing people on the set of this sitcom, and has traumatized this young kid who's now an adult. That whole subplot about the monkey going ape shit, about the sitcom, the whole subplot about him being a 90s child star. Some of that stuff is very funny and it works, especially in the first part. There's a hilarious monologue that Steven Yeun has in this movie explaining the sitcom that he was on. Gordy goes nuts or whatever. And apparently, according to this in the movie, there's this monologue that Steven Yeun's character has recalling this fictional mid-90s SNL sketch that they did about his fictional sitcom in which Chris Kattan played the monkey. And it's a great monologue. It's hilarious. It's a wonderful sort of ripping, great tribute to Chris Kattan and the genius of Chris Kattan. It's my favorite moment in the movie. A monologue about a fictional SNL sketch with Chris Kattan mentioned in the monologue. Best part of the movie, like by far the best part of the movie. Doesn't involve any special effects. Doesn't involve any kind of genre shit. It's a guy doing a monologue about a fake SNL sketch and praising Chris Kattan. Highlight of the movie by far. And then the first stuff with Brandon Perea, where they introduce his character, is great. And then once it kicks in, and they're like, okay, we're going to capture this on moment, and the horses are running around, and it's all about getting the aliens and the alien invasion, all that. Once that stuff kicks in, the movie falls apart. And it doesn't make any sense. There's no suspense. They build up all these scenes to nothing. There's a scene in nearly early part of the movie where like there might be aliens like in the stables, and the whole like nope. When you're scared and you go nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not going in that room. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do that. Nope. That's the running gag in the movie. It works at the beginning of the movie with this sort of maybe aliens walking through a stable scene, but by the end it's done a million times. It doesn't work, and it's as forced and tired as everything else in this movie is. So for about 45 minutes it works, it's funny. When he concentrates on one thing, it works. The problem is that Jordan Peele seems to think that whatever he does is great and brilliant because that's what has been happening to him. Like, he's been rewarded with millions and millions of dollars, all this freedom and all these awards for, making good movies. The first one's a good movie. Second one, not so much. But then they give him freedom, and I guess he thinks that whatever he says, whatever he does, whatever he writes, whatever shit he throws at the wall is going to be considered brilliant. It's one of those deals where a person starts to believe their own reputation. Like, I'm a brilliant writer, I'm a brilliant satirist, I am the godsend savior of the horror genre, and he's not. He's not at all, not even close, not even remotely close. So he throws a ton of shit at the wall in this movie. Not much of it sticks. In fact, almost all of it falls off the wall, and he just keeps throwing more and more and more and more shit. So instead of concentrating on one or two things that should work, he doesn't concentrate at all, and he throws like a million things in there, and none of it works. Not one thing works. It's a failure of huge proportions. The structure of the movie is weird because it's like each chapter is named after one of the horses, and at one point it's named after the monkey that goes nuts, and then it's named after the alien presence. And there's a theme that, again, is completely mystifying and really confusing because there's so much other stupid shit happening in the movie. And it's kind of about how we tame other beings and how horses and animals are under control. How do we do that? How do we tame the beast? How do we coexist with beasts? We don't look them in the eye. We try to train them. The monkey goes nuts, kills a bunch of people on a TV set. Horses go nuts. They run away. They might kill some people. And this alien is also like an alien being, and they want to deal with it the way they would deal with training or dealing with other wild animals that can be, tamed. And there's a lot of footage of wild animals doing crazy shit that Michael Wincott is watching. So there is this attempt at some sort of theme that fails miserably about wild creatures and wild beings and wild animals that have to be controlled. Doesn't work. It's a mess. The whole monkey sitcom thing as a subplot doesn't have anything to do with the main story of the two siblings and their visits from aliens on their ranch. Has nothing to do with it at all. If you cut every single scene out of the movie with Stephen Yeun, the monkey sitcom and everything, it would have no effect, none whatsoever, on the main story of the movie with the aliens and the guys on the ranch. All of the shit with the monkey sitcom and all that stuff, and there's like an hour of footage dedicated to that nonsense. None of it works. You could cut out Stephen Yeun, all of it. Seriously, would have no effect at all on what the movie was about. Extraneous and extra shit that doesn't work is all over this goddamn movie. The structure of it is a mess. There are moments, like in the last second half of the movie, he rips off Spielberg on several occasions in other better movies. I kept thinking of Arrival, the Denis unbelievably brilliant sci-fi movie with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner from a few years back. A brilliant movie. Denis Villeneuve and his great vision. It made me think of that. Like, the only good thing about Nope when it was over was like, I think I want to go home and watch Arrival. It made me want to watch Arrival again. That's the only good thing about this fucking movie. The Oprah moment seems, like past its prime. Having Fry's as your electronics store, past its prime. OJ jokes, past their prime. I don't know if it was meant to be that way. I don't know. But the fact that I don't know is a problem. So, all right. There's a TMZ thing. There's social media statements in it. None of it works. It's just none of it works. There are funny moments in it in the first part of the movie. The setup is kind of solid. It's like, okay, this is kind of an interesting setup. Where are we going to go with this? But he's too busy throwing so many ideas. He's got all these ideas, and all of them are half-assed. None of them are thought through. It's like he came up with an idea and wrote it, and nobody was there to rein him in. Nobody was there to say, Jordan, this doesn't work. Nobody was there to say, you should cut this. Nobody was there to say, dude, what the fuck are you doing with all these half-assed ideas that don't work? You need to cut this. You need to change this. You need to pull this back. He had total creative freedom, And in some cases, it's awesome when a director and a writer is given total creative freedom with nobody watching over them and no editors and no producers looking over their shoulders. Sometimes it's great when you're allowed to do that. Jordan Peele needs an editor. Jordan Peele needs somebody to watch over him. Jordan Peele needs somebody to go in and go, this is a stupid idea, and don't add 15 more stupid ideas to this movie. But it's just, it is a pile-up of half-assed, dumb fucking ideas thrown at the wall, thinking it's going to be brilliant, because I think Jordan Peele thinks he is brilliant. And he has been brilliant, and he is brilliant. He just is not as brilliant as he thinks he is, and this movie isn't nearly as smart or even dumb. It's even dumber than dumb than he thinks it is. It's a major failure. A major failure. What can I say positively about it? Like I said, first 45 minutes or so, nice setup, very funny stuff. When it concentrates on the comedy aspect, it works. But when it starts to be flat-out horror, sci-fi, alien in the last hour and 15, it's a fucking monstrous failure on every level that's derivative of other better sci-fi alien movies, better directors, and all that stuff. It is, the first movie that he made, Get Out, solid, really good. Not as great as everybody thinks he is. Did he deserve the Academy Award for screenplay? Absolutely fucking not. Us, solid, really good, good acting until the last third, and it completely falls apart. This, about 45 minutes. The comedy parts are good. Everything else, all of the half-assed, half-baked bullshit loaded into this movie, none of it fucking works. Special effects are unimpressive. The score is not very good. The cinematography is actually, the best part of the movie is the cinematography. The guy who shot it is Nolan's cinematographer, who shot Tenet and Dunkirk. He's a great cinematographer. So the cinematography is very good. You got a great cinematographer. I saw it in IMAX, so visually it's great. The sound is good. But more than, it's like, a bunch of sound and fury signifying nothing. If that Shakespeare quote is applicable to any movie, it's applicable to Nope. So, a massive disappointment, and I hope the next time Jordan Peele makes a movie, he lets other people read the script and go, you should cut this and change this and do that. And you should not give Jordan Peele free rein ever again. A massive disappointment, although not so much because Us wasn't all that great. Us does not hold up to repeated viewings. And I had a bad feeling about it when I saw the trailer, when I'd read about it, and I was right. And the fact that they screened it a night and a half before it opened, like literally 30 hours before the movie opened is when they screened it for critics. That's not a good sign. And you know why? It's bad. So, say nope to Nope. All right. More movies we'll be talking about and all kinds of cool stuff right here on the YouTubes, and go to patreon.com/NickDShow. Donate today. And my podcast. Check it out, radiomisfits.com. Okay. Nope. Nope.